right, it is Thursday, that day before that miracle day that starts the entire weekend. For most people, not for all people, but for most people. Last night, Penina Lou and I played Don't Starve together on a multicast, meaning I was on my gaming channel and my Twitch channel, and she was on both of her channels on YouTube. I will make that correction, Samish Wench. Meaning it was on 4 different venues at once. So let's see who I am saying good morning to, or good evening, or good afternoon to this morning. Good morning, hubby dearest. Good morning, Viking Sandwich Wench. Good afternoon, Mariel. And I know Numbed Skull will be back, but he gets a good morning anyway, just because that's the kind of person I am. Good morning, Stargazer. Morning, Mitch. Morning, Draconeth. Ha, butchering that as always on the first try. Let me see as I'm scrolling down. Anybody else pop in? Nope. And that is it. I will make the necessary adjustments to do the sandwich wench. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh yeah. I had a blast on Don't Starve Together. Good morning, Unwanted Reaper, or good afternoon, depending on the time of day that you are at. I has coffee. All is good. Okay. Did not want to assume. At 11 o'clock today, the president is going to address the Parkland, Florida high school shooting. I am currently juggling 5 different sources on that story, so I'm not going to be covering it this morning. It is going to be covered probably in a combination of a pre-recorded uploaded video and a blog post. I want to make sure I have all my facts straight. I want to make sure nothing conflicts with anything when I finally report on this story. Alright, so good afternoon, Unwanted. When stories like this break, like it broke yesterday, you have all the media outlets and a lot of YouTubers jumping on it as soon as it happens. The problem with a developing story is that timelines change, situations change. Wounded, and unfortunately the number of fatalities change, as well as, any motives may come out during the investigation, and whatever the police who are investigating the incident want to release can only release so much during an active investigation. So I would never report on an incident as it is happening. I sit back, I wait, I gather sources and information in order to compare all the information, to correlate it and make my own news story. This generally means that it's going to come out later than most people have already reported on it, but I want to make sure that I do it justice and I don't do it in a biased manner. I want to provide the people that read my blog as well as watch my content with as much with as unbiased a report as I can make it, to be a little more accurate in that scene, because I am sure there are plenty of YouTubers that have already covered the incident. I am planning on doing that, just not 5 minutes ago. Morning, G. Bronert. Let me see. Something else I was going to say today. I can't remember. The brain, the mind is a terrible thing to waste. I did the same thing in Charlottesville, and it seems to be gaining me a bit of a reputation of, I don't know, being a reporter, even though I didn't go to school for it. So I guess you could call me a citizen journalist in respects, in that manner. I've never been looked at as such, and I think it's a bit ironic, because when I was little and I was growing up, I avoided the news like the plague. I did not want to watch the news. I didn't want to hear anything having to do with news. I figured all the news was bad. Why do you need to know anything about the news? And here I am at the age of 44, correlating it, gathering it, comparing it, and reporting it. It's amazing how things change depending on situations and when you get fed up. So there is always that. Let me see here. I like the fact that you wait until there are more facts. I feel I can trust what you say and be truthful. That's pretty important nowadays. Thank you. Sandwich wench. Ichi Fatum, good morning over on the Twitch side. Ichi, how are you doing this morning? Let me see. I have one person watching on Twitch, and I have 12 people on my YouTube side. So thank you very much for showing up this morning. So let us get into the news and see what we're discussing today. Alright, as always, I like to start it out with the weather, and the weather didn't show up the way it was supposed to, so now I have to do this the hard way. Yay! Now the weather shows up. Okay. For those of you that are wanting me to show my face when I finally get moved and settled in, I am planning on having a studio-like office. So when that happens, you will see my face. For those of you that haven't seen it yet. Mitch the Ripper, mad woman doing all the things professional journalists will not. Well, yep, you could say it that way. Alright, so the weather as reported by a, rather amateurish, not meteorological person. For February 15th, heavy rainfall could bring flooding into parts of the Ohio Valley and Northeast. So, check out that APB on NOAA. He's got some really good boat building tips. Or, talk to your local Cuban. We can make anything float. Warm temperatures expected across the eastern U.S. before a strong cold front sweeps eastward. I don't need any more cold. I'm good, thanks. Beneficial rain and snow for parts of the west. Warm, moist air will lift through southern plains and the mid-Atlantic region over the next few days, aiding in the development of showers and thunderstorms along a cold front. In this regime, temperatures will be well above normal across much of the south, with afternoon highs averaging 20 to 30 degrees warmer than normal. These storms will be capable of producing heavy rainfall. Yay, rain. Yeah. The front is forecast to continue moving south and east through the mid-Atlantic, Ohio-Tennessee valleys, lower Mississippi Valley, and the southern plains by late Friday. A swath of scattered rainfall will span from southern New Mexico to the Chesapeake Bay. The Appalachian spine of western Pennsylvania and West Virginia could have 1 to 3 inches by early Sunday morning. Strong high pressure will move through the northern and central plains in the wake of the cold front, allowing cold air to settle in. High temperatures will be up to 30 degrees below normal. By Friday, temperatures behind the front will be near normal throughout the Mississippi Valley and southern plains. The Pacific Northwest and portions of the desert Southwest will be in an active wet pattern through the weekend. Wet pattern. Onshore flow, along with a series of upper-level disturbances, will spread rain and mountain snow across the region. In general, accumulations are expected to be on the lighter side. However, given that moderate to severe drought is present in the southwest and parts of the central Great Basin, the rainfall and higher elevation snow should alleviate these conditions. Should. Remember, we always start out feeling like we're going to drown, we need boat building tips, or some sort of floaties. The first 4-5 months of the year, and then by the end of the year we're in drought conditions. Let me see. Ichi says, it's natural the older I got, but I also got discouraged with the kind of news coverage that comes various outlets, especially television. Yeah, me too. Let me see here. And here is the map of the forecast. So as you see, we've got warm temperatures over here in the southeast, moderate going along this line over here, and we've got hot and moderate temperatures over here. Warming up cooler. It's getting cooler the closer we get to the northwest, and when you get to the northwest, we have single-digit temperatures, as I'm scrolling up now, which I like to call, screw you, I'm not going outside weather. So, yeah, so that's what's going on in Billings and Bismarck, Glasgow, and all those places right there, up there in the mid-northwest. So please be careful, bundle up, keep yourself safe, and warm. Let me see. AM. Yeah, I got to. Somehow, the time thingies are not working on the Twitch side, so I just had to type something in. Mitch the Ripper, always flooding, always a drought. How better to claim evidence for global warming? Yeah, I have to agree. They love doing that. Okay, stay inside. Right. Or as Star 94 here in Atlanta would often want to put it, in the Northwest, cuddle factor will be 8, possibly 9, maybe even 10. So we've got their first story of the day. I think it broke yesterday, but it was, sort of a little underdeveloped. Now I gotta scroll up again. Many in hospital after attempted entry into NSA. Gunshots were fired after an unauthorized vehicle attempted to enter the secured NSA campus at Fort Meade. Morning, Neil and good afternoon, Prophet Cthulhu on the YouTube side. Wednesday morning, the incident left 3 injured. Gordon Johnson, special agent in charge of FBI's Baltimore office, does not believe any of the injuries are gun-related, as all the rounds were aimed at the SUV, but would not give details as to who opened fire. Of course not, because all that has to be written in 20 million reports. As of a press conference delivered Wednesday, Johnson stated the FBI was in the process of collecting more information on the occurrence. Among the injured are the driver of the SUV, an NSA police officer, and 1 onlooker. But no details were given about how the injuries happened. There were 2 other people in the vehicle with the driver who are now being questioned after they were brought into custody. The series of events are as follows. At approximately 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, a vehicle attempted entry into the campus without clearance. Shots were fired and there were injuries, but again, preliminary reports do not presently indicate that there are injuries attributed to gunfire, and the FBI is on the case doing a full-scale investigation. So there is the first story. So I'm going to watch this as it develops. When they use several, I don't know about anybody else, but when you term it and you say several, I'm thinking more than 3. I don't know why, but I'm thinking more than 3. Because several to me has always been more than 3, but that's just subjective to me. So I can't, So we're gonna keep an eye on that because it's kind of weird. Especially the onlooker, the civilian onlooker, as the report stated out of the news story that I took it out of. So basically there was somebody going, "Ooh, shiny! There's something happening," and he got caught up in all of it. How he got caught up in all of it, God only knows. That's why I'm keeping an eye on it. Mitch the Ripper meeting on a tarmac at noon. Alright, let's see here, and now, next one. From 1 incident to 1 crash. Let me see. Flights resume on tribal land after crash. Flight restrictions were placed on the Hualapai Reservation after a helicopter crash killed 3 British tourists and wounded others. Autopsies done listed multiple injuries were directly directly linked to the crash, but the medical examiner did not go into detail. The flight restrictions were lifted late Tuesday. The National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, is investigating what led up to the crash. Interviews with the witnesses and survivors, the helicopter operator, will be looked at as well as the manufacturer and others. First findings are expected by the end of the month. The wreckage was taken out of the Grand Canyon on Tuesday and moved to Phoenix to be looked at with more scrutiny by the NTSB. The Airbus EC-130B4 went down a little before sunset in a section where tours of this nature aren't as regulated as they would be if the tour was in the national park proper. The same helicopter took minor damage in 2012 when the nose touched the ground in an attempt to land at the base of the canyon. Okay, question number 1. What were you doing in an unregulated portion for flights in the park? Shouldn't the tours be restricted to the national park? So was he sort of breaking regulations? I don't know the regulations for tours around a national park, but if they're more regulated in the national park than around the perimeter of the national park, wouldn't it be safer then to do the tours inside the park? Just a question. Just a question. Alright, here we go. Next one. In the ongoing saga of what is South Africa, Zuma resigns, Ramaphosa, new president. With the resignation of Jacob Zuma and the newly elected Cyril Ramaphosa as South Africa's new president, the only candidate... Ooh, I see a Did I see a fuckwad? I don't see a fuckwad. Oh, there he is. Good morning, fuckwad. You snuck in on me. Good morning, my dude. Good morning, my dude. Let me see here, and we gotta do this. But were they checking out the locals? I don't know if they were checking out the locals or not. As South Africa's new president, the only candidate nominated for election in the parliament. This was due to two opposing parties stating they would not be parties to the event. The parties opposing the election called for a dissolution, which was unsuccessful. The judge who oversaw I lost my place. The judge who oversaw the parliamentary election, Chief Justice Magong, congratulated Ramaphosa. The Democratic Alliance Party stated they would work with Ramaphosa provided he served the interests of the South African people. Amid the resignation, there are those accusing the ANC of not holding Zuma accountable for the corruption that he is accused of, and therefore violating the Constitution. Ramaphosa makes the fifth president since the end of apartheid in 1994. Morning, Florence! Oh, you got notified! Not very many people in YouTube are getting notified nowadays when I go live. That's why I put it all over Discord. Let me see here. Making sure nobody else has popped in on me. Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay, cool. Alright. So, those are our three stories. And like I said, I'm going to assimilate all the information I need on the Parkland, Florida shooting. And that will be a blog post article. Because I want to do it as much justice as possible. There are links both in the description and also floating through the Twitch chat that include a bulletin board where you can post the... I actually got the notification in a timely manner. I is scared. Wow. If you want me to report on news matters that matter to you, there is a bulletin board on my website. Yep, I already covered that, Chair. I told them that at the beginning of the show, but thank you. There is a bulletin board where you can post news stories that you want me to look into and report on the show. There are also links on the website where you can become a patron or tip me if you like to, support me. All patrons get permanent mod status in any of my chats on my live streams. So those are the only wrenches that never get rotated away. And now comes the time we've all been waiting for. Sort of. Most people wait for the news. But anyway. Let me do this.
And just one more thing. On your trip back, I'd like you to take the time to learn the Babylon 5 mantra. Ivanova is always right. I will listen to Ivanova. I will not ignore Ivanova's recommendations. Ivanova is God. And, if this ever happens again, Ivanova will personally rip your lungs out. Babylon Control out. Civilians. Just kidding about that God part. No offense.
Crap, I unmuted the wrong one. Let's try that again. Yay! Alright, here we go. Take 3, yo! Yep, no, you didn't lose it. I have to mute it so it doesn't echo, and then my behind unclicks the wrong mute button. That's what happens. Because there's always at least one blooper in the show. And it's usually because of me. Somewhere, somehow. Nope, I'm here. Alright, so, how is this a thing? 12th of February, 2018, for Computing Forever, otherwise known as Dave Cullen, where he goes into the feminists' latest push for, wait for it, a diversity hiring, drum roll please, construction and other heavy industry. That's right, you heard me right. Feminists are now pushing for more women to be hired in construction. I'll let you discuss that among yourselves as I just kind of dropped that bomb, and he discusses it in this video. Next video. Socially awkward Steve. Not on Superman. We did that already. Yep. Socially awkward Steve on dating. He's awkward. He's socially awkward. He's socially awkward Steve. This is absolutely hilarious. You guys have got to subscribe to Mitch the Ripper. If nothing for his socially awkward Steve videos, because these things are absolutely hilarious. And that is where he takes on dating because socially awkward Steve considers himself a bit of a babe magnet. Not going to give you any more spoilers on that one. Next one. Prince of Queens has a letter to Contrapoints. Dear Contrapoints, a kind message from a queer elder. Unwanted Reaper. As a white male, I'm all for women doing all the manual labor so I can go fish. So, he decides to have a little open letter to Contrapoint, so that's the one. No problem, Mitch. Anytime, man. Last one is Starbird Disagrees. Or does he? Hashtag gamers are good, why Mark Kern did nothing wrong. Instead of his usual opening where he says, I'm Starbird and I disagree, he actually agrees with what he's talking about. And that is Mark Kern getting dismissed for trying to start the hashtag gamers are good. It's another interesting and insightful video from Starbird. Please check that out. Let me see, and just in case the people on the Twitch side, because there are no description sections on Twitch, there is. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste the links over on the Twitch side for the recommended views for the pre-uploaded videos. So you guys are getting a little bit of spam over there on the Twitch side. Bear with me. But it's not all me. It's 4 different content creators. So I hope you guys enjoy those recommended views. Whoops, that's not right. Not yet. Morning, Wiki! How are you? Alright, now for the last segment of the show, and sometimes the most anticipated segment of the show.
But wait! There's more!
Oh, there most certainly is. Oh, there most certainly is. The cancer of the morning. Hashtag shout your abortion. Activists model fierce abortion fashion by Bust Magazine. Oh, Lord. Here we go. Roe versus Wade. The landmark Supreme Court decision legalizing abortion turns 45 this year. And abortion has been a part of women's lives since the dawn of time. But in spite of the fact that 7 out of 10 Americans support legal abortion, we're one dead and retired Supreme Court justice away from the end of Roe, and millions of Americans already lack access as it stands. How in the hell did that happen? Let me see. Abortion fashion. I thought of something different. Me too, Neil. Me too. The GOP effectively rebranded abortion as murder in the early 80s as a way to galvanize the emerging so-called moral majority. Democrats responded by doing what they do best, weakly capitulating to the narrative of the right while tripping over themselves to apologize for having an opinion. In response to the ludicrous assertion that 1 in 3 American women are murderers, liberals meekly suggest that we set the bar at safe, legal, and rare. Queen voice. Yeah. But I don't want to live in a country where abortion is rare. I want to live in a country where there are exactly as many abortions as people need. I want these abortions to be safe, legal, accessible, and paid for by the government. Bullshit! Government doesn't need to pay for your goddamn lack of fucking good judgment. Oh shit, I broke character. Oh, I also want to live in a country where it's not considered brazen for a person to discuss their abortion on their own terms at whatever volume they choose, and they don't think our rights can be protected when most of us feel as though our stories have been suppressed. In 2015, I wrote a Facebook post that about my abortion. Morning, MC. The only abortion here is this article. I agree, Mitch. My friend Lindy West added the hashtag shout your abortion, and it took to Twitter. The post sparked a viral outpouring of stories that hasn't let up since, and a movement was born. Neil, I want to live in a country where the government pays for me. Yep, they always do. It's impossible to make a case for abortion in an environment in which a vast majority of those who have them are terrified to admit that the proof is reflected in their own lives. If you're using abortion for fucking birth control, you're doing it wrong. I am sorry, but the only time in my belief where abortion should be covered by the government is if it is an instance of rape. And the mother doesn't want it because of the rape. That's it. Period. No, I'm sorry. And possibly in cases where the mother's life is in danger if she carries the baby to term. But that's it. That is absolutely, positively it. You should not use abortion as fucking birth control because it screws up your body and gets you to the point where you cannot have children because of all the scar tissue. These women are absolutely out of their frickin' mind. Ugh. This always infuriates me. If you don't want babies, there's birth control out there. Don't poke holes in them fucking condoms. Give them a condom, or better yet, ask them if they have a condom. Since you don't seem to want the responsibility of having to do this birth control, ask the guy if he has a condom. Because if you're promiscuous and you're sitting there screwing everything with a heartbeat and a fucking swinging dick, maybe you're the one that needs to worry about your goddamn protection and preventing fucking STDs from spreading. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's fucking you. Don't blame it on the fucking men if you're spreading your legs for every man out there because you decide that you're going to sit there and be promiscuous. It's not all the man's fault. Period. This fourth wave, I'm not gone off fucking charts, but here I am. Here's my rant. This third and fourth wave intersectional feminist bullshit where they blame men for everything. If you refuse to take personal responsibility for your fucking actions and you find yourself pregnant, that's your goddamn problem. That's your problem. That's not the man's problem. That's not the man's fucking fault. You're the ones that spread your legs for any man who walks by because you want to be empowered. Empowered is not how many men fuck you. Empowered is getting an education, getting a career, standing on your own 2 feet, paying your own fucking bills, and having a mind of your own, and not following the beat of the common drummer called fourth wave intersectional feminism. Empowerment is saying, I am woman, I am intelligent, I am beautiful, and I can stand on my own 2 fucking feet, and I can pay for my own shit. Mitch, feminists have exposed Maddy's ire to gamma rays. I'm sorry, but oh god, this shit pisses me off. Everything is the man's fault. Now it's the government's fault because they're not paying for your fucking abortions. Gee, but women don't have their own agency. Gee, Bronner, everybody has their agency. They have to own it. Everybody has their own agency. They have to own it. If you don't want to be responsible for your own actions and your own fucking... there's a word for people who do not want to take responsibility for their own actions. For people who don't want to have their own agency. You want to know what that word is? It's called being a child. Because a child does things not having their own agency because they don't know until they're taught that what they're doing is wrong. Right now, women have more rights than men. And that is the sad part. A man can be raked over the coals in family court, made homeless because of child support, and why? Because the woman is too fucking lazy to go out and get a job and stand on her own. That's why. Men get longer fucking sentences in jail. But it's the women that needs more rights. Honey, when you do the same crime as a man and you get at least half the sentence or less than that man gets for the same thing, you're privileged, honey. It's not white males that are privileged. It's females in general. It doesn't matter what their color is or where they come from in the world. When, in the course of you having your actions, you find yourself being given preferential treatment for hires, for criminal courts, for probate court, for child support, it is you, madam, the woman, who has privilege and not the man. And that's all I have to say. Now, let me see if I can get through the rest of this cancer before I flip out again because they tripped my Cuban switch. Oh. Over time, an increasing number of us have rejected silence, our voices steadily poking 1 million tiny holes in the anti-choice movement's facade of bullshit. At long last, the day is peeking through. It's time to become so loud that we are impossible to ignore. You already are too loud and impossible to ignore because you won't shut the fuck up. You won't shut the fuck up. For so many of us to reveal our full humanity that we become impossible to dehuman. You're already humans. The problem is now you're sounding like whiny little fucking spoiled brats. Morning, Sarah Lee. Poking holes, peeking through, right? Unwanted. There are exceptions, of course, but I'm against abortions. Also pro-choice, if that makes sense. Yeah. Maddy for president. In the years since that initial tweet, SYA has become a fully legit organization. We basically function as an art collective, partnering with artists and activists all over the country to create all sorts of outlets for people to talk about abortion. Because they can't keep the abortion to themselves. Because they can't keep their legs closed. Because they can't take fucking birth control. Historically, the pro-choice movement has had a difficult time owning the word. We'd like for that to change. And that's what led us to imagine a feature illustrating a group of women using fashion to unapologetically reclaim the word abortion. After 12 weeks, that fucking child has a heartbeat. That's all I have to say. I had a miscarriage at 12 weeks. That child had a heartbeat. Our models are artists, activists, and women. Our models are women who have no fucking life and spend all the hours of every fucking day talking about abortions and how wonderful their period is. Because they can't shut the fuck up about their bodily functions. And then they sit there and go, oh my god, my period is great. But you call them a woman and they go, oh my god, you just misgendered me. Ree! Give me a fucking break. Liz Weinstead co-founded The Daily Show and currently helms Lady Parts Justice. Lady Parts Justice. Seriously? A group that formulates creative, rapid responses to attacks on reproductive rights. You have reproductive rights. Poppy Liu is a queer, yeah, you're certainly weird, first-generation Chinese-American actor and co-founder of Collective Sex. Collective Sex, so orgies, got it. Which creates radical media aiming to decolonize stories of body, sex, intimacy, and identity. In other words, to completely further degrade. In other words, to further degrade the United States. Got it. Alejandra Pablos is a Latinx resistant... Latinx. That is not a fucking word. Resistance, Bruja, witch. And, yeah, you're a witch, alright, but put a B in front of that, it'd probably be a little more accurate. And field coordinator at the National Latina Institute for Reproductive Health. Joy L. Johnson is a writer, activist, and comedian. Right, you probably suck as a fucking comedian because all you talk about is what men have done to you lately. With one hell of an abortion bit. Right, because abortion is funny. Shannon Perry is a prolific artist, the boss bitch. Bitch would be accurate. At Valentine's Tattoo. Kiara Johnson is a queer, yeah, another weird person. Southern black mama, as well as a newly named Deputy Executive Director of the National LGBTQWXYZ 24,000 other letters that I don't bear to keep up with Task Force. And Lindy West is the author of the best-selling memoir Shrill, a contributing opinion writer for New York Times and co-founder of Shout Your Abortion, because yelling about abortion is the thing to do if you want to look like an absolute fucking degenerate. Mitch the Ripper, Hillsdale brand Latinx furniture polish for a shine that crosses borders. Don't forget Two-Spirit, right? All this promiscuity is going to lead to rapid disease spread and force a return back to Puritanism, just to keep it from dying. I agree, Neil. I agree. One could argue that an abortion-inspired fashion industry is a bit frivolous. No, it's stupid. It's not frivolous, it's stupid. At a time when legality and access are underrepresented threat. But legislative process is often the actualization of change that has already taken root in popular culture. Artists and activists are always lighties ahead of lawmakers. No, they're not. They just have their heads so far up their asses, the rest of us aren't limber enough to see it from their point of view. And if our tactics are so constrained by a triage mindset that we stop making things, we'll have relinquished our greatest power, our ability to shine. You can shine by showing people what talents you have. You can shine by excelling in the career choice of your choice, by being the best possible person you can possibly be. Not by saying, I want governments to pay for abortion. That's not shining. That's kicking your feet and punching the ground and fucking reeing because you're not getting your way. Get your little pacifier, go into your little safe space, hug your little teddy bear, and grab your little safety blanket, honey, because the world doesn't bow to you. And if our tactics are so constrained by a triage mindset that we stop making things, we'll have relinquished our greatest... Okay, wait a minute. We are not asking for your permission to exist. It's because you're going to exist whether we want you to or not. We are letting you know that we're here. We're irrepressible. We're irresponsible. You wrote that wrong. That's supposed to be irresponsible. And we're dancing. We are making up for lost time. No, you're not. You're being a pain in the ass. Abortion is not pro-life. Abortion is not pro-life. Sorry. You can't redefine pro-life. Pro-life is for life. For living. Wanting shit to live. Abortion after 12 weeks is murder. Try again. Abortion is not normal. Oh my fucking God. Walk out into public wearing that and people are going to know you're a feminist. Jesus Lord. No. Good God. They will market anything in a mass fashion. Everyone knows I had an abortion. Good for you, and now you're advertising it to everybody that doesn't and really doesn't give a fuck whether you had an abortion or not. Oh my God. I used to have a bumper sticker. I tried seeing it from your point of view, but I couldn't get my head that far up my own ass. Yep. Alright, now, so let me go ahead and take this out of the picture. Get those live streams scrolling. There we go. A black woman is a walking abortion. Sandwich wench. Woo! Okay, now for the announcements for the live stream for the day. Starting his cartoons. If the president's on time, he's already talking about the Florida shooting. He's been doing that for about 11 minutes now, and I'm missing it, but that's okay. Still probably playing cartoons is Tonka Saw on his channel. Kumite is usually at 11, all times Eastern Standard. Numbed Skull at 2 p.m. this afternoon is hosting the Great Debate. Wren also is having Wrenilations at the same time at 2. Hellcats at 8 p.m., so grab your pizza and beer, hang out with Jason. Penina also has a stream going on at 8 p.m. where she plays a game. I don't know what game she's playing today. But she's this is going to be the last streaming day, and tomorrow she's going to upload content. Let me see. Unwanted Reaper, the Great Debate is great fun. There we go. Some Dumb American is hosting Lords of the Night at 9, and at 11:30 p.m. Minions of the Zoo hosts their their night stream as usual. It's fine, Penina popping into the Twitch chat. It's okay. You can always see it later. So those are the announcements for the day. Everyone, Viking Samish Wench. That t-shirt should read, everyone knows I'm a skank and I can't use birth control because I can't figure it out. Much like the 3 seashells on the Demolition Man. So, it's alright. As usual, my friends, I'll probably be tweeting out that Coffee Talk is happening while I am amassing all these things to do this news article. But until then, may your coffee ever flow, may your caffeine be ever strong, and may you have a thoroughly terrific Thursday. Take care, my coffee nuts.